Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Happy middle of the week. Happy hump day. Happy whatever it is you need today. I wish happy for you. And that if you're not already there, you get there. You get there soon. Maybe even by the end of the hour, with any luck at all. I have been busy talking today, so if I stop for a sip of water, just know it's because my throat's dry. We just finished taping. We just finished recording. I guess you don't call it taping when you do it with your telephone. We just finished recording my talk for the Ventura Unity service on Sunday, and so here I am, all riled up and warmed up and ready to go. Good evening, Dana. Glad that you were here, darling. How are you feeling? Got surgery coming up next week. I think that's right. I just that's really a cute picture. That's what is it, a GIF? What do they call that when it's not an emoji? Because that's really cute. I like it. It looks kind of like you. Yeah, it does. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Tired tonight, huh? Yeah. Well, I would imagine with all that's going on and all that you have to be preparing for right now that there's a bit of a strain on your little mind and body. So please don't forget to take care of yourself pre-surgery, please. It's a Facebook avatar. That's what that is. It's really cute. I like it. And it looks like you. And I like that. So, there we go. Good stuff. Where does one... How does one? How do you get one of those? I'm amazed at what I don't know. I am just constantly amazed at what I don't know that I think I should know. I'm getting a new computer set up because this one's doing strange things lately. And before it does something really strange and dumps everything I own, like the last time one broke down, I'm getting it in and plugged in and information transferred and all of that. It's sitting downstairs in a box right now because I haven't had time to do anything else with it. But my plan is, once things move on this week, that I can get it out of the box and set it up and do all those exciting things one does with a new computer. Lots of appointments and list making. Oh, yeah, I'll bet. I'll bet. Yeah. There's always so much to do. They tell you to get rest and be ready for surgery, and then they give you a list of 1,000 things to take care of before you do that, and you have your own list of 1,000 things that you need to take care of before you do that, and it can be exhausting. So don't forget to take care of yourself, please. Please. I would appreciate that. Okay? Okay. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you, because I don't always remember to do that, or I talk so much there's no time at the end, which is where I think it should go. But I want to say thank you to all those people who have donated, and those who have made regular deposits, set it up with their accounts to just automatically make a donation. I appreciate that so much. And of course, any donation is appreciated always. I know Facebook Live is free, but all the stuff that works around it, like the new computer so that I can actually show up and talk, are not. So thank you. Thank you for those of you who are supporting me and this ministry. It is truly appreciated. I also want to thank the technical department. Thank you, technical department.
You're very welcome.
And the closing song choosing department. And the water bringing department and all those wonderful things that you do. Thank you so much for all of that.
You're welcome.
And thank you for those of you that show up on a regular basis, because if it weren't for you doing that, there really wouldn't be a whole lot of point in me doing this, would there? Talking to myself is not my favorite pastime. I want to find out what this Tom's Guide thing is and how to make your own what? What? Because I can't see the bottom. All I can see is how to make your own. And if I click on it, I'll go someplace else and that I won't be here.
Avatar. Facebook.
Oh,
Facebook
cool.
avatar.
Cool. Thank you, Dana. Thank you. I think that would be fun.
Make one for the cats too.
Make one for the cats too. Let's. Do they have a terrorist one?
Nuts, not.
No, but it's accurate.
A terrorist angel.
A terrorist angel. Well, he is kind of both in any given moment. He's a sweetheart at night. Once he calms down, he does this crazy thing when it's first time to go to bed, and he bounces off the walls. He boings and boings and boings. And then he calms down and he's a little angel. I'm sure it must work. I have faith in those people who know those things and actually post them. So, thank you, Dana. I'm sure that'll work. That'd be fun. I think that would be fun. So, what are we about tonight? What is, what's going on? What's in need of prayer? What's to be celebrated? We need all of that. So, let me know what's going on in your life. What can I support you in prayer with? What can we celebrate with you? All that stuff. This here's family. Seems to be. And everyone is welcome. So if you're out there feeling like not part of the family, jump on in. Let us know you're here. Say hello. Participate. And you'll feel like family in no time around here, trust me. I had an interesting discussion with Jennifer about that yesterday. About family and how close everybody has become. And I think that's very true. And I think it's also very good. So there we go on that. Now, let's see. What do I want to mention before I start just talking? What needs to be brought up? Technical department, am I missing anything that I should be talking about before I start talking?
You thanked people for their donations.
I did.
And
I don't
know. I don't know what else you might need or want.
Oh, okay. Neither do I. I did mention that we had just finished taping. I will be on the air again Sunday at 10 in the morning for Unity Church of Ventura. It's available on Zoom and Facebook and
YouTube.
Is it YouTube? Are they on YouTube? I know they're on their, it's on their site as well.
Yeah, YouTube, Facebook, Zoom, and their site. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm actually repeating the abracadabra talk that I gave here a couple of weeks ago because I liked it. It's fun to do. And it gave me an opportunity to haul out my wand again. So I did that. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they react to it. Just because I think it's a fun talk. And it's got a great message. It just happens to be fun as well. You know, sometimes some are more fun than others. Some are more serious than others. That one's kind of a combo. And I love doing it, so it was fun to do again. And I did bring out my wand. Abracadabra. I'm going to do here what I did in the talk that I did not do when I gave it here, which is to say, abracadabra. I should do that slower, don't you think? Yes. Anyone who hears this talk tonight has their life transformed in wonderful ways. Anyone who hears this talk at all has their life transformed in wonderful, wonderful ways. Abracadabra, which means, as I speak, I create. Your words have power. Use them wisely. There. All right. Having done that, hold on, let me put this back in a safe place because we do have a terrorist kitten here who does strange things and walks around with weird things in his mouth. He's a funny kitty. All right. So, well, if I have said all I have to say outside what I have to say, and I've used my magic wand and put a spell on anyone who hears these words tonight, let me know how that works, would you? Does it transform your life? I hope so. In good ways. Does it make you feel more powerful, more cared about, stronger, healthier? Any of those things. Keep me posted. I would love to know how that little magic spell works. Just put it in the comment boxes. Everything goes in the comment boxes. Okay? So, I shall get on now with what it is I want to talk about. And let's see what kind of transformation that might create in all of our lives. I'm not immune to it. Now, I know I've been using a lot of his words lately, but I gotta tell you, I think the mind of Seth Godin runs in some really powerful, empowering circles that I enjoy running in. And sometimes he says what he says so well that I just can't imagine changing any of his words. So I came across this and I wanted to share it with you because I think it's very, very powerful. Seth writes, I have discovered that there are those things in my life that are totally and completely out of my control. Gravity, for example. I can't do a thing about gravity, he writes. Even if I wanted to move to Jupiter or the moon for a change in gravity, it's inconceivable that I could. On the other hand, there are lots of things I can do to control my reaction to gravity. He looked them up. I can take Alexander classes or get in better shape. I can avoid situations where gravity makes me uncomfortable. The trapeze, for example. Oh yeah, that would make me uncomfortable. I can choose to not whine about gravity and its effects. There are countless forces in our lives that are out of our control. But that doesn't mean we can't do anything about how they influence our work and our life. Okay, so two things in Seth's article stopped me in my tracks. I can take Alexander classes. What, I wondered, is an Alexander class? So I did my research. And from their own website, the Alexander technique is a way of learning how you can get rid of harmful tension in your body. Ooh, wonder how it works on a stiff neck. Although certainly not a full definition of the Alexander technique, this is a good start. The Alexander technique is a way of learning to move mindfully through life. Well, that sounds good. The Alexander process shines a light on inefficient habits of movement and patterns of accumulated tension, which interferes with our innate ability to move easily and according to how we are designed to move. It's a simple approach, they say, that offers the opportunity to take charge of one's own learning and healing process. Because it is not a series of passive treatments, but an active exploration that changes the way one thinks and responds in activity. It produces a skill set that can be applied in every situation. Lessons leave one feeling lighter, freer, and more grounded. Okay, so far so good. This seems not to be a bad thing. The second thing that got my attention in Seth's thought process was simply the idea of gravity itself. And you all know that sent me directly to the dictionary. The first definition of gravity, noun, physics, the force that attracts a body toward the center of the earth or toward any other physical body having mass. The degree of intensity of this is measured by acceleration. Or the second definition, extreme or alarming importance, seriousness, a situation of the utmost gravity. Seriousness or solemnity of manner. Comes from late 15th century, from the Old French or Latin gravitas, weight, seriousness, from gravis, heavy. The word used in the first scientific sense dates from the 17th century. You got all that? You are taking notes, I know you are. Then, of course, there is Sir Isaac Newton and the universal law of gravitation. We've all read the story that Newton was sitting under an apple tree, an apple fell on his head, and he suddenly thought of the universal law of gravitation. I'll bet that's not the first thought he had. But he got there eventually. As with most legends, this is probably not true in all of its details. But the story contains elements of what may actually have happened. The article did not go on to say what did actually happen and how could it. The author wasn't actually there or in Newton's mind. I'll get back to that. But what about gravitation? Gravitation, noun. Movement or a tendency to move toward a center of an attractive force, as in the falling of bodies to the earth. In physics, it's a force of attraction exerted by each particle of matter in the universe on every other particle of matter in the universe. That, incidentally, is Newton's law of universal gravitation. Movement toward or attraction to something. So, to sum it up, what I've said so far, Seth Godin expressed the utmost gravity in discussing his grave relationship with gravity, although he seemed to gravitate toward the Alexander technique, which works to alleviate the effects of gravity or stress upon the physique, as well as the mental attitude of certain members of the human race. Are you with me so far? You haven't left, have you? And haven't you just learned a whole lot about something you've never been particularly interested in or cared about before? And maybe still aren't interested in or care about at all? Am I annoying you yet? I don't mean to. But then again, maybe I do. After all, my job definition is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So if you're afflicted now, you must have been comfortable when you got here. If I'm annoying you. Let me change the subject for a minute or two. Show of hands. How many of you believe that the Earth is the center of the universe and that everything revolves around it? Arguing with that belief cost Galileo his freedom. Let's try another one. How many of you believe the world is flat? Well, of course not. But there was a time. And in that time, people would have defended to the death the idea that what the maps said was right. Beyond this place, the known world, there be dragons guarding the edge of the world. Please understand, I'm not saying that everything we believe is false. I'm not. What I am saying is that we need to question some of the ideas that we hold dear, especially when other people are involved. My anonymous Newtonian writer could only surmise what did or did not happen to Newton as he sat under that apple tree. Maybe he just suddenly imagined what it would be like if an apple fell and questioned why it would fall, particularly on his head. Yet most of us have accepted the legend as fact because that's what we were taught, wasn't it? Is it true? Maybe. Maybe not. Who's to know? Maybe even who cares? With things in the past, time can give us perspective. Sometimes with things in the present, we can only know what we know in the moment and hold that information up against those things which we believe to be perennially true, like the presence of gravity. Over time, we come to believe in gravity, don't we? We can't see it, but we can see what it does. And if we release something to fall on its own, it falls to the ground because the thing that we call gravity pulled it there. So ultimately, science and personal experience tell us that gravity exists. And then we go from there to apply our knowledge to our lives. The presence of gravity is one of those things that we learn to work with. We can't make it go away. We can't do anything about it. But we learn to work with it because it is clearly there, and it is just as clearly out of our control. So here's the point. I hope you had faith that I'd get there. The most important thing said was that there are countless forces in our lives that are out of our control. But that doesn't mean we can't do anything about how they influence our work and our life. It rains on your parade. Yeah? So, do you cancel the parade and then complain bitterly about the weather? Or do you just go find your umbrella? Ants show up at your picnic. ANTS. Do you pick up your blanket and go home? Or do you go on with your party and perhaps even share a few crumbs with your new friends? Your child doesn't do what you think they should. Anyone who has ever had a child has had that experience. One of the saddest stories in my experience was a couple who dearly loved their children, and they had 5 of them. Dearly loved every one of them, and particularly proud and fond of their oldest child, who fell in love with someone they didn't approve of. Interestingly enough, race or color had nothing to do with it. They just didn't like the person and thought they had caught her in a lie, and told their son that he shouldn't marry this person. But he loved her. He really loved her. So they set a date and rented the church and did all the things they could, and their parents refused to go to the wedding. Refused to go. And, well, the last time I checked in, the son could come visit at the house, but the wife was not welcome. They don't do what you think they should do. They'll do that. Do you stop loving them? Or disown them? Or do you realize that there are a lot of things you can do to control not them, but your reaction to what they are doing? I mean, my God, you love them up until this moment. Maybe you can even find a way to love them now, even with this. And do you ultimately decide to either support their decision or help them get through what they're going to have to go through if it turns out you were right? There are things you can do, even about things you have no control over. Maybe your life doesn't look the way you want it to look. Do you whine about it, cry about it? Or do you come to realize that there are many, many things you can do to control your reaction to whatever it is? If you are unhappy, unhealthy, unwise, there are lots of things you can do. But the very best thing you can do is refocus. You may not know as much as you think. There may be more going on than is obvious. Or you may not have all of the information, as the church and many other scientists didn't when they condemned Galileo to life in prison for heresy when he suggested that the Earth was not the center of the universe. Now, in full disclosure, to their credit, they did apologize 400 years later. I suppose you could do that with your children or your life. Apologize later. Or you may just need to come to the realization that we do not, any of us, know it all. And that most of us are really seriously poor at predicting the future. How can we know where this decision or these words or this path will take us? There are so few guarantees. But there is this. If we know where we are headed, we are far more likely to get there. So what is it that you want? The choices you're making, the effort, the sacrifices, will they get you to where you want to go? Will they? More words from Seth. We make choices every day about our destination. And because of those choices, we go on a journey. Along that journey, we take risks. But we also experience an internal narrative about those risks. And so destinations, risks, perceived and actual, and journeys pretty much define our lives. It's possible you've come to the conclusion that the destination you previously chose isn't for you anymore. That being a pop star, a successful vice president of accounting, or a ballerina or a receptionist with a secure position isn't a life you'd really like to live. But don't confuse that with the journey. Maybe you'd be happy with the pot of gold at the end of your rainbow. But it's entirely possible that you don't want to suffer the discomfort and indignities and effort that it will take to get to that destination. That you'd like an easier path. You'd happily take the destination, the pot of gold. But the truth is, you've decided the journey is just too arduous. And don't confuse that with your imagining of the risks along the way. It might be that you want the destination, that you're willing to put up with the, or even delight in, the journey. But your thoughts, your narrative of the risks and dangers are just too much to handle. When we conflate the destination with the journey, with the narrative of the risks, we have no hope of improving any of those. And we're often inclined to throw out everything at once. But it's possible. It's possible, with effort and planning, to make the journey more palatable, or the risks feel less threatening and more tolerable. The destination isn't the journey. And our mental narrative of the actual risks is up to us. And the real truth is this: we won't know if we don't go. However, there are some things in this life that we can be relatively sure exist. Gravity exists. It affects each of our lives, and when we know how it works, we can learn how to use it for the betterment of our life. Right? Right. I can be assured that if I tip this container up, my mouth better be underneath it, or the water's going to flow all over my desk, and then I'm going to be really upset. I can also be certain that if I set it down, I'd best set it down on a surface where I want it to stay. And it will, unless the terrorist cat comes through. If I stick it out here and let it go, I'm not going to have the same reaction at all. You all know that. Things we can be sure of in this life. Gravity exists. And God exists. Oh, perhaps not as the old man on the throne in the city with the pearly gates, but certainly as the creative and motivational force of the universe, whatever its form may be. And as the creative and motivational force in the universe, it affects all of our lives. And, like gravity, when we know how it works, and it works as us, through us, we can use it by thinking, not about what we perceive with our senses, but about what we can prove with our lives. It's our not-so-secret power. When we know how it works, we can learn how to use it. And we use it not by thinking about what is wrong or intimidating or completely out of our control, but what may yet be right. Just because in the moment the facts are unknown does not mean that they are unknowable, or that we can't, if necessary, overcome them. And we overcome our challenges, our fears, our hesitancy, our reticence, by understanding that the creative power of the universe is the power within each of us. That what we desire is what that power wants to express as us, through us. Yes, there are those things that are totally and completely out of our control. Gravity, for example. But our lives are not one of those things. And when we allow that power within us to express, when we allow spirit to express through us as an unlimited power, things change. We don't need to overcome gravity. We just need to learn how to use it. And we don't need to overcome the challenges in our lives. We just need to learn to use the power that we have. When we allow Spirit to express through us as an unlimited power, we become the realization of our fondest dreams and highest aspirations. And we change our lives and our world for good. Gravity. Who knew? So, my friends, what's up? I figure a lot of you may be listening to this after it's live, because I'm very much aware that I was in competition tonight with the president. So I taped him so that I could listen to him while you are hopefully checking in and listening to me. I'd like that. It's a tough act to follow, but God and I are up to it. So, Lainey, how'd he do? What interesting things did the president have to tell you? While we were chit-chatting at this end of the world. Doesn't it seem, even with the pandemic still going on, and it is, I'm amazed by people who still talk about it as though it were over. When the pandemic was happening, it's still happening. People, it's still happening. Put your masks back on. Anyway, Lainey, let me know if there is something we can react to in the president's talk. I would be thrilled. I like him. I like what he's done so far. I agree, Lainey. I think he is very genuine and caring. I think he genuinely cares about people and wants us all to be well and past this and happy. A lot of people are comparing him now to FDR, and I find that really interesting. But I think, what he's doing is looking at a pattern that worked and made a difference and healed lives and brought people back into the world in a creative way. So I don't see a problem with that. Aren't we about the same kind of business? Healing lives and bringing people back into the world in a creative way. I think we are. I think we are. Anyway, um, what else do I need to say to you? What would you like to hear? What can we do together to make a difference? Think on that, would you? We may need a project. I'm up for that. I am. Hold on, I'm going to have a sip of water and trust that gravity will, in fact, pour it down my throat and not down the front of me. There. Boy, doing 2 talks in a row tends to dry your throat out a little bit. But that's good. You know me. I can always talk. I can always talk. I don't know if that's a gift or a curse. So, here's what I'm going to suggest. Let's pray. Shall we? Let's pray. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Or just soft focus so that you're not staring at me on a computer or a telephone or your television screen, however you watch. But so that your attention and your vision is moving within. It's a good place to be. And I know that right here, at the center of my attention, is an awareness of the presence of creation. And as I know that this is true for me, so too I know it is true for all who hear these words. And so I speak to and for and with each of you. And know this, that all that there is that creative, motivational force that we call God, because we seem to have a need to name things in order to speak of them. And yet this force, this creative initiative is greater than anything we can really imagine. It is powerful and unlimited and unbounded. It contains all wisdom. It is all love. And it is manifest creation in the world at large, as well as in each of our lives. And it is everywhere present. And so it is as much around about us as it is deeply within each of us. It is all that there is. And we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. We are godlings. We are that power expressed in an individual form. And that infinite knowledge, that infinite awareness, that infinite creativity has put in place those things without which we could not be. It has factory installed gravity and other living things and plants and air and water. We don't need to fret those things. We don't need to be concerned. But in our individual lives, we have each of us the power to create as the infinite creates. We have within each of us the power to love, to manifest, to heal, to care. And we use that power through our belief. And through our belief, we heal, we connect, we empower, we create. What a gift. And tonight we accept that gift unconditionally. Accept the power within us. Unconditionally accept that the presence of God is with us always. And it is unlimited, creative, unbounded. Let us not take that lightly, but let us accept that truth, that reality, that we may lift our lives to a higher level, that we may cure any dis-ease, that we may heal anything broken. That we may find answers to our questions and solutions to our challenges by simply allowing the power of creation itself to move through us. Those things that seem to be out of our control, we now recognize we simply need to react differently to. And so we do. We are empowered by our thinking, we are empowered by our words, but we are primarily empowered by the presence of God within us. We know that. We accept that. We allow that to direct our lives to good. We accept, too, all those who have asked for prayer, that may be realized. We know that Lainey's trip to Ohio for her mother's birthday is safe. That Lainey knows that her mother is in fact one of those things which in some ways she has no control over, and yet Lainey's patience and love are ever in control of the situation. And with clear thought and clear mind, she clears things. She can do that. She will do that. We know that Dana's upcoming surgery is completely successful, and that she heals quickly and easily, and that she has all of the support that she needs and longs for. We know that Chris is up to his part of the job and that she can depend upon him. We know that Jennifer and her family move through this time of grieving and loss and are ultimately left with only happy memories and a feeling of love. We know that Kathy is pure love and support for her animal family. And they know that she is loving and caring. And they are grateful for the time that they have spent with her. We know that all of those who are in need of prayer tonight have their prayers answered. And we know that anyone hearing these words feels the power in them, accepts the power in them, and is affected in positive and wonderful ways in their lives by them. Those who are praying for success find it. Those who are praying for love feel it. Those who are praying for healing accept it. And we are grateful for all of that and the more that we may not even know of. And simply allow it to be so. And so it is. Your mom's 93rd birthday? Good for her. What a great run. Hey, at 93, I'm going to be stubborn too. Plan on it. I think you've earned the right by 93 to be stubborn if that's what you want to be. So, oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday and again next Wednesday. You know, when I went to church as a little girl, at the end of the service, the officiant would say, "Go with God." At the time, I thought that was pretty wonderful. Okay, I'll do that. But I really was kind of clueless about what that actually meant. What I know to be true now is you go with God, because you can go no other way. Hold that thought. I'll see you Sunday. I love you.